Good morning. Let's begin this USGA Tournament Management introduction. My name is Kevin Jones. I'm with the Washington State Golf Association here in the Handicapping Course Rating Department. And we're going to give you a quick introduction to this new exciting software program that will be available to everyone next year. And we're going to keep this to an hour or less because all this is meant to be is a quick introduction and give you a little sneak peek. Everybody would have received some attachments in the email that Colin sent out to you. Those are great introduction resources for you, especially the one that gives you some terminology. There are some links within that document that you can access now to kind of give you some snippets of learning the process without actually having access to the tournament software immediately. So with that, let's begin. All right, so obviously there's going to be a lot of questions, and we recognize that. Because of that, as of this moment, we want to keep this short. We will not be taking any questions during this webinar. We do encourage you to take a lot of notes during this that you want answers. Something that may caught your eye, they like, well, I want to know a little bit more information about that. We will try to best answer that as best we can. So we ask that you just take notes on things that you want answered for the future, and that you reach out to us by email or phone after this seminar or webinar, and we will try our best to answer those questions. As I said before, please review those documents we sent out to you. There are some great pieces of information in there, and so utilize those docs, start looking into it, and we'll get into how you're going to get access next year, and so you'll be a little bit more prepared once that access does come to you. And lastly, there will be many trainings being offered in 2017. Like I said, this is just an introduction. So we already have a plan in place to get out there and meet with you guys and provide more webinars, and we will be talking about that a little bit more in this webinar. And the last thing I want to say is, and I can't emphasize this enough, is that when you do get access to this tournament software for the first time, please come into it with an open mind. Many of us have used TPP for many years. It's been a great product, but I'm going to tell you right now that the USGA Tournament Management software by Golf Genius does things a little bit differently, and the flow is going to be a little bit different as well. And so to get past all that frustration that you may incur, I just ask that you come in with an open mind, ready to learn a brand new product, knowing that it's just not going to be quite the same as TPP, even though all the features are there that TPP always had. All right, so what happened? There was a partnership formed, and the USGA/GEN was seeking out somebody to create a new tournament system for you guys. They had looked at possibly doing an internal, but at the end of the day, they decided that it's best for us to go seek somebody who has mastered this craft. And so after an extensive search, they landed with Golf Genius. It's been a proven product for a lot of different groups. Honestly, we're kind of fortunate up here in the Pacific Northwest that the PGA, the Northwest section here, has already adopted Golf Genius, and they did over a year ago. So there are a lot of sections and PGA professionals already using the product in our own region. And so there's already a level of acceptance there. So a lot of people are already kind of used to the product, which is good for us because now we can take it to the next level and get it out to the entire golfing public. So there's already been sort of a partnership that already existed. The other thing that many of you may have already been thinking about is Golf Genius, the USGA Tournament Management System, is a cloud-based solution. Now, TPP Online, as many of probably have used, did have some issues. We all know that. Especially it was on the weekends, there were some scalability issues and capacity where you could not type in your scores, and it was very slow. What's great about this new option is that they took that to heart. It was definitely the #1 thing that the USGA made to Golf Genius say it has to be scalable to the amount of traffic that's going to be coming through there. And so they're using Amazon Web Services so they can scale to whatever traffic needs that are needed on a weekend when it's most busy. So while that's always been a concern with TP Online, you will not have that issue, and it will run very smooth and very fast through this new system. And then lastly, as we've already stated before, the new USGA Tournament Management, which we'll just call TM, it will be available come 2017, and we will talk about the rollout here in a few slides. Okay, so where does this leave TPP? It's been a wonderful product for many years, but the USGA and GIN had decided it was time to move on from that product. So right now, GIN will end support of TPP on December 31st of 2017. So what does that mean? It means that TPP Online will be shut off after the end of 2017. It will no longer exist. And then on TPP Client, because that was a software program that existed on your computer, it will work. That won't end, because as long as you have an operating system that can handle it, as you know, it's an older program, so it's not receiving updates anymore to be compatible with the newer operating systems. Then we will it will just operate on your computer if you have the capability. If you have a Windows 7 or Windows 8 machine, it probably will still use. The only difference is that you will no longer be able to transfer information to or from GIN. So if you were bringing down course rating information, if you were bringing down handicap update index updates, if you wanted to post scores back to GIN from that TPP client after the end of 2017, that will be no longer available. So if you just want to use it strictly as just a basic tournament function on your computer, that is the only thing that will work. With that said, the WSGA will continue to help with TPP issues and provide full support all of 2017 and honestly beyond. For those who want to continue to use TPP Client, beyond 2017, it's not for us to say that we will turn you down. We will always be here to support you. So while we will be pushing everybody to move to the new USGA Tournament Management System, we are here to help you, and we will always be here to help you with your TPP issues through 2017 and beyond. That will never end. All right, the new TM requirements. As you can see here, most of you that have a computer today, honestly, I don't think these requirements are going to be hard to be met. Most of this is stuff that people probably have on their computer already. We just wanted to call it out that it is available across all the browsers, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, even on mobile devices, and then on your computer, as long as you've got a standard computer with at least 4 GB of RAM, which most do, you should not have any issues. And then also, the GIN computers at your clubs are all compliant. So if you wanted to use the new USGA TM product on the handicap computer, you are more than welcome to do it, and it should have no issues handling it. All right, let's go into the options. So with TPP, there was only one option. We offered you either the client or we offered you eventually the online option. Now, with the partnership made, Golf Genius and the USGA Tournament Management people, USGA people decided that they wanted to create two options for you. One of a base option, we'll call, which is kind of the TPP basics, and then a more advanced option, which comes at a cost to kind of give people some greater capabilities that allow you to take your clubs to another level. So here's what's available. So first one is the base, and it basically comes with everything that TPP had with some extras. There is an expansive list and customization events that honestly TPP has never had, and I think this is going to be one of the most exciting features that the new USGA TM provides your clubs. You can build basically any event you can possibly think of, and if they haven't come up with it, they basically could crunch it out for you if you can think it and you can dream of it. So it's really exciting. We'll get into that a little bit as we build an event here. As for the fees, there is one slight modification to this. For all our member paying clubs, which is the majority of you, it is still, the base option will be free of charge as being a member of the WSGA. That has always been our case and has never changed. So that will always be the, that's what we'll be offering going forward, and that won't ever change. Here's the change. We do have some select associations/tours that are out there, and going forward, if you would like your own copy of the USGA TM base model, there will be a $500 charge for that. This is new to 2017. With that charge, it comes with all of the WSGA phone support and training that we would provide all of our normal clubs. So to say, with adding to that, for those association tours that want to operate their own events on the side, you do have other options if you don't want to go the TM way for the $500 a year. Like I said before, the TPP program will be fully supported in 2017, and that's not going anywhere. So if you want to stay with that option so you don't have to incur that fee, that's definitely available to you as well. And then, so we've given you some options here. And then also, if there's any of these associations that were seeking on-site support from us, I would have them contact us so that we can talk about some additional fees associated with that. It's just that we're focused on providing the free charge to our member-paying clubs, and then our association tours, there'll be a slight fee for that on the side. And so, and for those people that understand where they fall in that category, if you have more questions, please reach out to us and we can have a greater conversation about it. Okay, so the next option is premium. So premium is basically everything that the base model encompasses, but it comes with some great features that will provide some additional features that may allow your clubs to make some more some revenue generating, some more fun features for your members. So what it includes a mobile app that allows your members to do scoring, live updates right on the golf course if you'd like. There's also integration with a lot of tee sheets that a lot of our PGA professionals are using that can be integrated with the USGA TM software. It includes online registration. A lot of people are still operating with these paper entries. This would provide you an option to do online registration. It also has the ability to do post advertisements. For a lot of you who seek out advertisements for your big events, now you have ability to post a lot of advertisements in a lot of places through the software. Also, we'll get into every event that you create in the new tournament management software comes with its own customized event with its own URL. And with the premium option, while you get that with the base, with the premium you can customize that website however you see fit. So it kind of takes it to another level. And then also there is a golf trip function for you that maybe take a trip a bunch of people to Bandon. There's an added functionality with the premium that, that allows you to manage your golf trips a lot easier through the software. Now, as you can see at the bottom, there is a fee involved, and it is $2,500 a year up to 24 hole facilities. It is, for a lot of you may see that's like, wow, that's a big number. But what I would like to point out is that for our private clubs that who have already bought into premium or maybe want to look at it, a lot of private clubs that are already using it are seeing this as a revenue generator, because they're offering that premium option to their outside events. which allows them to make more money so that you can easily recoup that cost and beyond. Also, we're seeing with our private clubs that it allows the integration with their T-sheets is critical, and so that money is an easeability for them. On the public side, the number one thing that premium customers are enjoying is the online registration, especially if you've got very large men's and women's clubs. That online registration process allows you to get people into your events and manage the flow of money a lot easier, and they're finding value into that. So I'm going to say right now, premium is not for everybody, and we will never push premium on anybody, but we want to make sure that you know it's there. And if you want to have more conversations, we can get you in contact with the right people at Golf Genius to talk about it more. But just let you know that everybody will get base, but if they really want premium because of these additional features, then we're more than willing to have that conversation with you. All right, with all that said, talking too much here, let's actually get into Golf Genius and let's build an event. So I want to quickly build an event for you to kind of give you a quick sneak peek at what this program can do. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to build a 4-ball event, which is pretty simple, just to kind of give you a flair for the event. So as you can see on my screen here, I'm at golfgenius.com. This is their launch page, and once you guys all get an account, what you'll do is you'll come in to sign in, and you'll use your email for whatever we at the time we set up for you. So we come here, and this is our event dashboard. So as you can see, for people who have never seen this product before, you can tell it's a little bit different. Everything's kind of categorized. You know, you still got the major categories up the top like TPP had, but they are organized differently. So here we go. So what we're going to do today is I'm not going to get into the deeps of the major features of here. I just want to touch on the basics of how to build an event. And so what I said before, we're going to build a 4-ball. For a best ball, more commonly known as. So what we need to do is, as you can see here, there is a startup wizard. It allows you to go through the major features of what you would need to build an event, but I'm going to leave the wizard alone today. I want to show you the manual steps of getting people into this event and actually start building out those pairings and our results. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the customer center here, and I'm going to create a new event. All right, so we're going to call this our, let's say if we're going to do our test 4-ball, and I'll label it for, let's say, for Saturday tomorrow. So we're going to get started here. All right, so it automatically launches you into the wizard. I'm going to stay away from the wizard because I want to show you the manual steps of going through the tabs. So I'm going to say no thanks, maybe later. So now, as you can see, the name changed to Test 4-Ball for 1210. And so what we need to do first is that we need to set up our event profile, and we need to set up our golf course. So as you remember in TBP, the very first thing we did was we set up what event are we running, the dates and all that. Well, now it's we're going through a different process here. So we're going to start with events. So I need to make sure that all our edit event profile stuff is set correctly. So we've got some tabs here. So here's our names. Time zone. How do we want names formatted inside the event? You can default the gender. So there's a lot of information here. I don't need to change anything for this event. Then let's go into handicap settings. Okay, well, how are we running this event? So we're going to be accessing it from Jen. We want the current handicap index. Do you want to post scores? Well, if you want to post scores, absolutely, it'll post ESC scores to Jen. We want to make sure that's selected. Next piece here is talking about 3-5. So it's talking about how do you want to apply 3-5. So do you want to do it based on T-slip to relative rating, which is 3-5, or just on T-slip alone? Honestly, I don't think this option will be used very often. And then how do you want to base 3-5 on? So that when you got people playing from different sets of Ts, how do you want to base it on? We always suggest that you adjust the fewest amount of players. You want to affect the least amount of people in the field. So having it set to adjust fewest players honestly would be our recommendation most of the time. There are other options here as well if you would like. Applying percentage to the handicaps, we want to round up as specified by the USGA handicap system. We want to use 18-hole indexes. Here's another option for calculating course handicap for 9-hole tournaments. This will do as an 18-hole, but if you were, you can get in here and use these options. And then you have the option to set a maximum index or course handicap for the event. For this, we'll just leave it at the USGA handicap system maximum. And I'll just leave that at 36 before, and I'll leave the course handicap alone. So I'm going to hit, and we'll go back to rounds and scheduling. So what's really cool about this now is right here, this is very different from TPP as well. So you can set it up to where you're going to play in 2-sums, 3-sums, 4-sums, 5-sums, and 6-sums. So if you want to get really crazy with the games and have big, you can set these up in the defaults immediately for very large groups if you'd like to. We're going to stick to 4-sums. And then some different options in here. So you got some round signups. It's getting more in the advanced features. We're going to leave that alone. We're not going to do round signups here. And then I'm going to go to tournament and scoring. How do you want to break ties? Well, I want to break ties based on the USGA method of, the last back 9, then the last 6, the last 3, and then the last 1. And then also you can get into, points. For you that are running point competitions over a season-long competition, you can set up the default for points in here. It goes into blinds. A lot of cool features that are involved with this tournament. We're going to leave that alone. And then a couple other things about Stableford's and quotas. The rest of this is fine for our 4-ball best ball event. And then lastly is a directory. You won't need to mess with this one. It's just talking about where the event's going to go. So I think we're good here. Let's hit save. Okay. So now that our event setup is correct, now we need to make sure that our golf course is loaded in correctly. So we're going to maintain course details. All right, so right now we already have the home course loading in. That will what we'll do. If you wanted to add a new golf course, you would click on Add a Golf Course, and then it would provide you all the information to load that course's info. As of this moment, unfortunately, the course rating program is not integrated with the USGA Tournament Management software. Now, it is a top item on the list of things to be done, and I believe it will be done in 2017. I just don't know exactly when that will occur. So as of this moment, all course information will need to be manually entered in. So for the sake of time, we already loaded our tee in. I will show you what it looks like here. So right now we got the home course, and we've loaded in the white tee. We've entered in the rating, the slope, and then all of the course information that is involved with it, from yardage to par, the handicap holes. If you're doing 9-hole competitions, you can enter in the front 9 and back 9 ratings and slope. And then if you needed to expand on the home course, you could go down here and hit Add Tee and add more tees, maybe the blue tee or the black tee or the red tee. So you have a lot of options in here, just like TPP had. It's very similar. And so for the sake of time, we're going to leave it alone. We're just going to use this white tee that we've already set up. Also, there's additional information for this tee that if you want to print out more extensive reports that would tie into pace of play, green depth, all of that, that's here as well. Shotgun priorities, and default tees by gender. So we're going to move on. So now we've got our event set up how we want to. We've got our course details. So now what we need to do is, and before I get into loading the players, I want to talk here briefly that if you're doing a single round event, you will go through the same steps that I'm about to, but also note here in the event that if you want to do larger scale events like a multi-round series, round robins, brackets, so bracket is match play. I will point out that there's a feature in here called match, and that is like an 18-hole match where maybe 2 versus 2 for the entire 18 is different than match play. So the terminology is a little bit different. So match play is actually brackets, and then you've got multi-round tournaments. So multi-round tournaments would be, your, let's say, a 3-day stroke play, your club championship, where multi-round series are a variety of different rounds, maybe with different different modes of play, maybe a 4-ball and a scramble, and you can do that over a lot of series. So there's a lot of different options within here. And as you can see, there's so many features in here that we can't get to today, but loading your logos, your photos, there's just a lot of cool pieces here that you guys will learn as you dive into this tournament. So let's get to golfers now. So now we need players. As you can see right here, we have 0 players in the event. And you've got 3 ways to load players in. You can import them directly from Gen, you can manually enter them in, or you can upload them straight from a spreadsheet. So for today, I created this spreadsheet to kind of give you an example. All you got to do is just create it in Excel. You can either be in XLS or the new XLSX format. That's all they will take. It will not take a CSV. So I kept this very simple, first name, last name, club, and their GIN number. So I'm going to close this down and go back to golfers, and I want to upload roster from spreadsheet. We're going to browse. And I'm going to find it. Here are my 4-ball test attendees, and I'm going to upload. All right, so now we got to match our information with the columns that have already been created in USGA Tournament Management software. Well, first name and last name, it already determined that these match up. So now we got to match up these. So I can see right off the bat here, GIN matches up with Gen ID, so I'll grab these 2 and I'll hit match. And then club is going to be tied to affiliation, so I'm going to match those and I'm going to hit match. So there I've got all matching columns. Now if you were to bring a column of information that this software did not have an attribute that automatically matches up with it, don't worry. You will still be able to bring that in as its own custom field, so you will not lose that information. You'll still be able to bring it into the tournament, the event you're building. So let's import that spreadsheet. And this does take a few seconds. All right, it's all done. If you want to, you can download the new updated spreadsheet, but we'll just go right to the player roster. And there you go. Here's all our people loaded into our event. And we don't have any indexes right now because we have all that, just have their GIN numbers loaded in. If you want to provide email addresses and all that, you can absolutely load that information in. But we need I want 8 people in this event. We're going to do an 8 event, so I want to be able to show you all the different ways to bring people in. So we're going to import a golfer from GIN. And you can bring in golfers from other leagues and events you've created, or you can do it straight from GIN. So we're going to do this straight from GIN, and I want to do a lookup by, you could do it by name or first name or name, very similar to TPP Online. But this is, we're going to do one straight from GIN lookup. So I'm going to enter in my own number. I'm going to do a search, and there it found me immediately, and I'm going to add myself in. So now I'm part of the roster. It found all of my information. And then lastly, we're going to add our eighth person. We're going to do it manually. So right here, a lot of different information here. So we're going to add in our own staff member, Colin Westwood. And I'm going to leave the email alone. And I'm just going to assign him an index, let's say 15.6. And I'm not going to do the GIN number because maybe he's just an outside person and we didn't know what his index is. We're just going to type that in. If you want to add additional custom information, you can by clicking the Edit Custom Fields. And then there is additional information that you can tie to that individual if it's pertinent to your event. So, and also keep in mind here, you can always hit Add More Golfers, and you just keep hitting this and adding more manuals if you needed to do that. So we'll save our roster. So there we go. Now we've got the 8 people that are part of our event. So we can always come in and edit this information. Let's say John Adams, there was some information I needed to add about him. So you can add photos of that individual, you can update their contact information, their gender, date of birth, registration, if they had a different entry number, if they're a pro or an amateur, index summary, if you needed to update their current index or do a GIN lookup, and then custom fields. If you had custom fields built in off the spreadsheet, you can add those in as well. So very simple, just click on their name and then you can update that information. So now that we've got all the people in here, as you can see, we only have a couple indexes for our individuals. We need indexes for all. So just like TPP, we need to update indexes for everybody. So that's the next option on the list. So we want to update method to current index. So we'll click update and give it a second here. And there you go. Very quickly, it found the index tied to the name, updated their index. Obviously, it left this one alone because it didn't have a GIN number. And for me, it already found the 4.0 and it just updated back to 4.0. If it had the information before it was a different number, it would update it to the current one. So now we've got indexes for everybody. So now let's move on to the next piece here, and that is manage event divisions, flights, and teams. Now what's really cool about this software is that you don't always have to add teams in for every competition, even though it's a team competition. And what I mean by that is, and we're going to do that with this example, obviously with a best ball, it's a 2-man team versus other 2-man teams. And what's great about this is when we get around to actually building the event here, as long as your pairings are set up in the correct order, meaning even if it's a foursome, it's the first 2 guys and then the 3-4 positions of that foursome, the program can actually do the scoring based on the pairings and still create those 2-man 4-ball teams and do it and without even creating teams in the system. It's really cool, and I'm going to show you that. So what it's trying to do here is trying to save you time and effort to run your event. So instead of creating 2-man teams, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 4-man teams, and we're going to run 2 separate competitions within this one event. So I would use divisions for, let's say you're running a Pro-Am, and you want to make sure your pros are in one division and your amateurs are in the other. You can think of divisions just like flights. But there are flights in here. So just think about it. If you need absolute separations, you can create one division here and one division here. Let's say men's and women's, different age groups. That's how I use divisions. And then within those divisions, you can create additional flights to create additional separation. So that's how you should be looking at it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to manage our teams. And I want to off the existing name list. I'll enter a new team name. We'll call this just foursomes. And I want to set a size of 4. And I want to create these teams manually. You can see here you have a lot of different options to creating teams, just like TPP had. You could do it off entry number, you could do it off the custom field, and then choose the team name format. You can do, let's use it off the names here. So let's use the last name of all the players. And I'm going to hit next. So now I've got to create my teams here. So we've got team 1 here. So we're going to pick Bugs Bunny, Colin Westwood, James Buchanan, and John Adams. So we're going to save that team. Now team 2, we're going to bring in Bodenhammer, Sagner, Kevin Jones, and Sharon Dronin. We're going to save that team. So now our foursomes are created, and now we can go into these if we needed to make changes. So I'm going to go back to our team lists, and now we've got our foursomes here. Now I can edit, I can delete these teams, I can edit the settings, I can manage the flights of teams, or I can manage those teams directly. So as you can see, here's our 2 teams here. So now we've got these foursomes, and we're not going to create the 2-man teams, and I'll get that to as we just spoke about later. Okay, next. So now that we've got our players in place, now we need to start building the specifics of the event. So what we're going to do is go next to the calendar, and we need to add rounds to this event. For the sake of easeability, this is just going to be a 1-round event. So we're going to make this on December 10th. I'm just going to select it. If you were doing multi-round events, you can come in here and select as many dates as you would like. If you want to get rid of them, all you need to do is just delete. But it's very easy to create rounds in this software. So all I want is December 10th. I'm going to hit save. So it's going to build my round right now. Also, these tip of the days, I would read through these. There's some great suggestions in here as the information is being processed. Sometimes like that, they move a little quickly, so you may have missed it, but there are some great snippets of information involved in there. So now we've got our round 1 set up for December 10th. The one thing I do want to point out is for those who use the online registration who are going to get into the premium, and you don't even have to be in premium, but what's nice about this is that right here it says round type is golf. If you click on this, it switches to social. For you who are using online registration stuff, when you set up rounds and you set up for these events, it doesn't have to be golf. If you want to use this as a registration portal for, let's say, your winter social or your luncheon or other things like that, you can actually create signups on a social level that have nothing to do with a round of golf. And so it's just a nice added feature in here that allows you to use the capability of this tournament beyond just building a golf event. So I just wanted to point that out. So we'll switch it back to golf. So we're done here. We've already got our event set up. Now we've got rounds remaining. You can also create multi-round series in here just like you could back in event. So that's available as well. But so we're going to move on now to rounds, and this is where you're going to spend the majority of your time building events. I'd like this because here it shows you what round you're in. We've only got 1 round available, and then you've got an entire checklist of things that you may want to get accomplished as you're building out your round before the actual day of competition. So we're going to ignore sign-ups. The tournament management software has a sign-up feature to it, but that's more of an advanced feature. We could manage our player roster, but we've already done everything we need to do in there. So I'm just going to go down the list. So we need pairings. So as you can see here, we haven't even talked about running the event, what the concept of the tournament is, and that's very different from TPP. We're just building our tournament sequentially till we reach the final end of it, where it's like, okay, now we need to say, what are we doing? How are we playing golf today? So And what we need to do here is we need to build a pairing, so you can either do an automatic scheduling, and they provide a lot of different options here. You randomly, A, B, C, D, which we all are used to. You can do pairings by team. Right now the only teams we have is our foursomes, but what we need is we need our twosomes that we can perform our four-ball with. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to build them manually, but I want to point this out in terms of the automatic scheduling that wasn't a part of TVP, which I think a lot of you will find is a great feature. If there's these two tabs, keep together and spread apart. If there is an event where two people say, hey, I want to make sure that we are playing together that day, the keep together, you can call out individuals that will automatically be tied into the same pairings so they make sure they're playing together. Now on the flip side, the spread apart is wonderful because, I hate to say it, but in every club you're going to have those certain individuals that just the chemistry between them just doesn't work, and you want to make sure that they never end up on the same pairing. And so what you can do is use the spread apart option to make sure that those individuals are never tied into the same pairing, and they will always remain spread apart. It's just a great added feature here while you're building your pairings. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do manual pairings, and we're going to do these manual foursomes. But what I want to key in here is making sure that I've got them in the same spots in order to create those pairings for the four ball. So I'm going to hit next. So I got to define my foursome. So this is where I need to pick out those individuals. So for simplicity, Bugs Bunny and Colin Westwood are a team. James Buchanan and John Adams are a team. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to select everybody here. So I got the four people here, create the foursome. So they can see they're all in the same foursome, and then I'm going to come back in here and create that foursome, and they'll be in slot 2. All right, now click next. All right, and I'm going to continue. So now it's building our pairings, and now we'll be able to add the specific information that are tied to those pairings. And so here we go. So right now you've got a lot of different options down here. You can swap players, you can move foursomes, you can add players, you can remove players, you can add blinds, you can add new rows. Let's say that Bugs Bunny and Colin Westwood was not the team that was supposed to be John Sadner and Colin Westwood, and Bugs Bunny is supposed to be down here with John Bonehammer. So what I would do is click swap players, click on Bugs Bunny, click on John Sadner, and boom, they're automatically switched. So now I got that team, I got this team, and this team. Also, all the information associated with somebody, if you just hover over their name, it'll have all the pertinent information. So now what we need to do is we need to assign actual tee times, golf course information to there, because as right now it has nothing specified. So we need to set our tee time. We'll just leave this at noon. We'll do 10-minute intervals, and we'll just start on hole 1. Everybody plays hole 1. We will select all, and we'll hit go. As you can see, now everybody in the noon group, off 1, 12-10 group, the 10-minute interval, off 1. Also, you have the ability to set a shotgun if you would like, and you'll be able to create all the different information, what holes you want to use, just like you did in the TVP program. I'm going to leave that one alone for now, and then I need to set up the golf course information. Well, right now all we have is the white tee. We want to play all, we want to select all players because we want to apply to everybody. If we had a female in this group, we could set one individual golfer to play from that one set of tees, so that 3-5 kicks in. But for this, we selected all, so all in gray are selected. I could unselect some of these, but we're going to give everybody the same set of tees, but just so you know that option is available. So we're going to hit go. So now the home course white tee is assigned to everybody in this group. So now we're going to hit save pairings. All right. Okay, they've been successfully saved. So now our pairings are done. All right, now let's finally create our tournament. So let's go to your Create Edit Tournaments. So you got a lot of different options in here. Majority of what you're going to do here is under Add Tournament. You can link existing tournaments together into an aggregate tournament. Let's say you had a bunch of tournaments and you want to put them all together. That option's here. And then the Add User Score Tournament. What this is manually entering information that is tied to your event that you want to display on a website or on a television screen, like closest to the pin, long drive. You can come in here and add those features as part of your display so people know immediately who won those competitions. But for today, we're going to do the Add Tournament. All right, so what we're going to call this is our 4-ball. I don't want to use teams. Our format here is going to be stroke play. Now look in here, you've got tons of formats available to you. You know, match, which we're talking about, stroke, stable for a quota, all your different skins games. You know, we get calls all the times about how can I do a deuce pot? Well, and this is all here now. If you want to do a Nassau, it will do it for you. But for today, we're just going to do a stroke play. How we're going to manage our competition. This is where we talked about how this is great for managing without teams. I want pairs versus the field. So it's utilizing the pairings we already created to create the competitions for us without having to create teams. And as you can see here, there's so many different competitions and formats available to you. I mean, you can just have a field day with this. So we're going to pick pair versus the field. And then how do I want to manage that competition? As you can see here, there's so many different formats with how many balls you want to play. Now for this, we're going to do best ball on each hole. That's we want to do a 4-ball at best ball. But if you want to do a different forms of competition, they are here. And man, I mean, if you can think it, it's here. And what's fabulous about this program. So we're going to do best ball, 18 holes. We want to use the USGA net. If you want to use some other system, gross, off lowest, the Callaway system's in here, the Peoria system's in here. It's all here available to you, but we want strictly USGA net. If you want to adjust handicap indexes, you can, but I want to show you the more handicap options. This is a deeper dive into that. So what we want to do here is we have our maximum index 36.4. We want to index to calculate course handicap. Also, a lot of times when you're doing competitions with pairs, everybody uses the limits, so that you need to activate that here. So it automatically defaults to if the partners are greater than 8 strokes in course handicap, which a lot of people do, it will reduce the addition of that player, all players, by an additional 10%. Now, this option is recommended by the USGA for 4-ball and best ball competitions. This department will always continue to advise clubs to do this, even though I know some clubs choose not to. If all you want to do is limit people to just the stroke limits and reduce the handicap, the higher handicap, down to whatever that limit is, you would use this option, but we highly encourage you to use this one for 4-balls and best balls. All right, so we'll have that set up. You got some other, you can limit combined team course handicaps. That's not applicable here. And we run around to the nearest whole number as per the handicap system. All right, so we're going to be done. All right, tie breaking, we already set it up for, use the USGA method, but there are many others available as well. And then purses and points. You have a lot of different ways of divvying up pots and points here. In this case, we'll just leave it winner take all. I'm just going to leave these alone. But if you have purses that you want the computer to automatically divvy up how much course Pro Shop credit that you need to give away, you could have that set up here. Or if you're doing a system where it's a points competition, you can set that up as well in here. So we're all done here. That's all we need to do. We're going to hit save. Now what's great is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to add another tournament. So off those same scores that we're going to load in there, you can run multiple tournaments within the same event, which is really fun. So this time we're going to utilize those foursomes, and I'm going to do this on purpose because I want to show you a really cool feature. So we're going to base these off foursomes, and I want the T-sheet to physically organized by the team. That's great. So payout, I want to the team. Format, I'm going to leave as stroke as well. Competition, I want to set as the team foursome versus the field, meaning foursomes versus foursomes. And this is the cool feature. Now under the balls, you've got all of these great competitions. Some, I'll be honest with, that I'm not even completely familiar with, but they're there because there's so many different games being developed these days. But one I want to point out here is the advanced feature. You now can create rules for your competitions, and I tell you what, you can build almost literally anything. You know, a lot of times we get phone calls about, hey, we're doing a competition and I want to be able to do, within the foursome, I want to take the best gross and the 2 best nets. Now you can do it. You can basically build anything you want, and what's great about these rules is that if you want a different rule for every single hole across the 18-hole golf course, you can do it. If you want to have a funny competition here and here, here, and here, or on on odd holes and even holes, you make it up, you can do it. And then down here, you set the rules about how you want those set in. You can do bonus balls. I'm just saying you can have a field day with this. So it's a really cool feature that's been added into this program. So for the sake of this, let's do best 2 balls out of the 4 on each hole. Once again, you can have the net competition. We'll just leave that as 100%. You have the option to drop worst holes. Let's say you want to do the best 16 out of 18. You can add that in there. You just do drop worst 2 holes, and then the tiebreakers and the points and purses like we've already spoke about. So we'll save that. So now we've got our 2 competitions set up. So now let's get into quickly, I know we're running over a little bit here, but hopefully I can hold on to you guys for a little bit longer. So now we need our scorecards, and I'll quickly go through these. So on a basis on the 4-ball competition, so it's showing our pairings. Now, how do I want to format these scorecards? You can do a lot of different information in here. How many scorecards you want to print to a page? Typically, you want to do 2. How much information do you want on here? You can adjust the margins, what size of paper, a 9-hole card, an 18-hole card. You can add in information up here. What's great is here is you can create all these different headers and columns, and then within here you just push in there and you grab the piece of information that you need. Just like the TVP client program, here it's very easy to grab the information and then push in here. Let's say instead of the league name, I want the course name, and this instead I want this to be the tournament name. So you can just do so much with this piece of software. So let me reset that back. I'll set this to course name. And then to that extent, how you want the scorecard to show here. See these, and we're doing a 4-ball, but we're only giving out 1 scorecard. So I want, but in this case, let's say I only want to give out 1 scorecard for each pairing because this is a 4-ball. Well, I just switch 2 players per scorecard, and then every 2-man team will get their own scorecard. So there's just a lot of different ways to manipulate this scorecard for your uses. And then let's click over to the handicap stroking. Right here, you'll dot them if you want. You want to print total handicaps, you can. The one option I have asked about, and I know it's being built but it's not ready yet, is being able to, if you have adjustments where you're using the 90% rule and you don't want the full handicap to be shown, where some people like, the course handicap for the day of the tournament / their normal. That's not available as of this moment. So right now what you're seeing is the dots based on all the percentages being calculated into the system. And then additional information in T's, you can add initials, you can add slashes, you can type in, you can add boxes. This box is a free-flowing, you can type whatever you want, you can adjust the size of it. Like I said, you can do a lot of different information, but for the sake of time, I'm going to move forward. You have the option to bring in logos. You can bring up logos in here. You can do watermarks within the lettering so it hides behind the scene, which looks really nice on each side of the scorecard. And you can change the size, the opacity, all this stuff here. So you have a lot of options that you guys can have fun with. And then lastly, the options of changing the colors. So let's say I want these all to be in bold. So now they're in bold, and it leaves them alone. So all you do is select the box and then how you want the font size and complexity. You can set up and you can add colors. Like I said, you have a plethora of information here. So, and then what's great too is that once you set up scorecards that you really like, you have the option to save these in your library, so you do not have to create them for the future. So you can just start creating them one after another. All right, so we're gonna save this. I'm not going to do the print for the sake of time, so it's been saved. So what I'm going to move on next is we're going to do a pre-round audit. This is really a nice feature that it goes through your tournament and makes sure that everything that you've created has no errors or bugs in it. So it's going to do it quickly. It just does a quick evaluation. Everything passed. That's wonderful. Everything looks good. So now we're going to go into enter scores. So here's our pairings. You have the option here. You just click on the box and start typing away. So as soon as you hit one number, it will go next to the next column and keep typing away. I do know they're adding in an X for holes that are not utilized. So right now, if let's say you're doing a scramble or a larger competition where there's no score, you would just leave the box blank. But I do know that they're going to add in the X6 for the most amount of strokes they could play on that hole, or they just picked up, so most likely score. I just know that it's not available as of this moment. So once again, for the sake of time, what's great here is I'm going to do random scores. So it will automatically pre-populate all the pairings. And I want to come to our test leaderboard. So it's going to process through all this. So I'm going to look at my 4-ball competition. And there you go. Here's the results of the tournament. Par, net par. You can look at the other tournament we created, and here you go as well. Okay, so now to move along really quickly here, you can post scores to GIN. You can display the leaderboard, which we're seeing here. I will say this may be, the handicap analysis may be the coolest feature that I've ever seen in this program. What is fantastic about this is that how many times do you have people come up to say, how in the world did I get that course handicap? You now have a way to show it to them. So it's showing his index, and that is his course handicap. If you click on, for this competition, this tournament, the 4-ball, if you click on their name, it shows you all the calculations right there. It says, yeah, he had a 15.6. Here's the rating and the slope. Here's the actual formula that comes to this, which rounds to 18. Because their partners had a difference of greater than 8, it took an additional 10%, and that's how he got to 16. It's fabulous. It explains exactly how the math works behind the scene, but does it visually for you so you could show somebody exactly how they got there. And so it helps you explain how the system got there, and without having to, a lot of people get confused by this. Now it's visually right in front of you. If you do need to do a manual adjustment of the course handicap, you can come into that individual and adjust it here. But I think this feature is fantastic for education purposes. Okay, and then lastly, there is a print center. This is all your reports and documents and scoreboards. There's a lot of good things in here. These composers are actually, just like TVP, the original client program, this allows you to do very custom reports and designers, and they are building this. It's starting, but let me tell you, they are over the coming months here, that will get even more expansive. So there will be a lot of options to create customizations for your specific events and the information that you need to grab out of there. So a lot of good information here to dive into once you get your account. And lastly, I'm going to come to apps. As you can see here, everybody gets their own web address for their own portal, something that you can post on your own website. All of this information up here can be designed to your liking. You can put in a new banner. But what this is just a custom website that gives you every information about it. So you can look at your tee times. You can look up the results of the tournament. And actually, I need to go back. I missed a step here. I need to return back to the manager site. You need to activate that information. And that's here. Show the pairings in the event portal, show events, and show the results in the event portal. And so now if I go back to it, it will show the results as of where I just was going. And then lastly, too, there is the TV module that allows you to show your stuff on a television. It works really well. Give me a second here. Here we go to the TV display. As you can see, I'm still getting used to the tournament software as well, and there's a lot of great features in here. And then you can customize how you want this displayed, how fast, how big, add column headers up here. You can add images, logos. So there's just a lot of different information here. I can adjust how this will adjust, and then as you back away from this, it goes away, and it'll scroll through. So it's an awesome feature to put these on your big screen televisions within your clubhouse. And then you just scroll up here, and this all will come back. Okay, so that basically sums up Golf Genius. It was giving you a nice tour. I'm going to go back to our presentation here and finalize with a couple of things here. Let's talk about support. As always, the WSGA will be your Tier 1 line of support. We always have been and always will be. You always feel free to phone us. You can email us. The one thing that will be new to this year is there is a chat resource function. And actually, let me go back to Golf Genius really quickly to show you this. Is that this is there's this orange button here in the bottom. This is a fantastic it's a fantastic feature that allows you to, one, get out to us, as you can see here, reach out to us through a chat feature, and then also it will do a it also is a resource guide for you for documents, and I'll let it pull up here. And it'll bring up a search document here. So if you want to search up anything, let's say a ringer tournament, I type in ringer, it talks about all the different ways to create a ringer tournament. I would highly use this as your resource for learning how to build specific things that you want in your event. And then also there'll be the contact us, which will reach out to us directly through a chat feature. What's great about that is it gives us the ability to go right into your tournament, right where you're having the issue, so that we can help you get to where you need to faster. So that will be available once that comes out to you in the beginning of 2017. So that's new to our added support, but always feel free to phone us and email us as well. And then lastly, Tier 2 is we'll go to Golf Genius. If we feel there's a problem that we can't solve on our own, that will be brought directly out to Golf Genius to help us solve those higher level issues. Okay, let's talk about rollout really quickly here. our plan is here is to roll this out on basically a soft rollout in mid-January to 20 to 25 clubs. I pretty much have those identified, and I will be reaching out to those individuals in probably a week or two before we hit the new year. So what we wanted to do this because we need an opportunity to kind of build up our support here and get familiarized with the program. So we want to touch base with these clubs. And then what our intention is that in February we are going to go around the state, and I think there's about 5 sites we're going to go to for seminars, sit-down seminars, where we're going to bring out a Golf Genius employee to help teach you guys the nuts and bolts of this program. And those will be about 3 to 4 hour sessions. And once you guys come to that training, we will give you access so you can have your laptop in front of you and actually go through the program and you follow along with us. So that information will be coming out soon as we're finalizing locations, and that will be out in February. We are going to be requiring training for everybody who wants to use this program. I'm not saying extensive training, but we need people to have some understanding before they dive in there because we don't want them to get frustrated right off the bat. So we are asking that everybody do a little bit of training, whether through a seminar or webinar, before getting that program released out to you. And that's why we're doing these webinars and these seminars in February. And our intention is to have the rollout completed by September 1st. That is our intention. We want to make sure everybody has it before the end of the year because we know TP is going away, so the people who want to be on this program, they'll have immediate copies to it. Okay, so with that, let's conclude here quickly. We all know that this is a big transition. This is a brand new program to everybody, but we appreciate everybody's time, and that we appreciate if that everybody can just be give us the benefit of the doubt. We're going to try to help out everybody as quickly as we can. We know this is a big change, and so we want everybody's support in us getting it out to you. We will reach everybody that we need to, and we will put the time to make sure that happens. We feel that this program is an improvement from TPP, but also keep in mind that if you want to use TPP for 2017, do it. There's no reason not to. We will continue to support it. So we just want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable in using this new software. And lastly, we are dedicated to make sure that the support and training is there for everybody. So I will leave with this. This is our contact information for the 3 of us in our department. I greatly appreciate everybody's time. If you got questions and you got things you want to talk about, please email and call us. We will take the time to answer them as best as we can, and we will have a lot of information coming out to you in the future. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I wish you guys all the rest of your day, and enjoy the snow. Thank you.